Great Britain side that I've had the displeasure of seeing.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Here's a question I don't know whether you've ever been asked before. Are you disappointed at not having captain an Australian team?
No.
Never entered your mind?
No, only this year, and there was a bit in the press about it, but I've never really given it any great thought.
Would it be an ambition that you want to achieve before you finish your time?
If I could, yes, I'd love to.
Not that we're talking about you finishing your time in the next, we're talking in the future.
Had a good game too, Boyd, by the way.
Yes, he needed to redeem himself from the second test. He had a quiet one, didn't he?
Certainly did. Had a good one yesterday.
He also got a very nice elbow on the jaw, which couldn't have done him any good.
He copped a bit early, Les.
Did he ever?
Probably getting his chop.
Yeah.
No, but as an ex-player and as a person who's played against some of the great English forwards, I've never seen a slower, less skillful ball handling pack than we have here. Their efforts to move the ball around in the second half, I thought at times bordered on pathetic.
Yeah, so there's very little good you can say about them actually as a football fan. And that's the pity in my view, because this is a very, very good Australian team that for a while, until memory fades, is going to be, people will say, well, how can you say that they were a great side because of the shocking opposition?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think that must be a worry in the rugby league world, though, Rex? Like we're seeing Great Britain, we've always looked for Great Britain Australian test match as something that we really look forward to coming in Australia. Now, we've got the Great Britain out of the game of rugby league at this stage of the game. We look across to New Zealand, we see Auckland beaten by a reserve grade side. They come across the other night and easily beaten. And really it's not an Australian side. Let's face up the facts. It's a Sydney side that's playing. It's a Sydney side that's playing. So we've got troubles in Queensland, we've got troubles in the country, we've got troubles in Great Britain, there's troubles in New Zealand.
Yeah, but we don't...
Well, that's what we've got, Alan.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we've got.
we don't know what players are left back there in Great Britain. I mean, this selection panel that they've picked the team to come out here can't do their job, obviously. Of course, they left Fairburn back there and they left Topless back there. They've arrived out here and they've gone straight into a test team, so obviously they haven't done their job. Now, I'll bet there are a lot better players back there than the elderly gentlemen we saw wandering around out there in the
first couple of
tests.
Well,
the first couple of tests.
Let's hope there are, but I say that's what's happened, though. These fellas are not getting the full credit. What you said a while ago, Steve said he doesn't
What
put the
you're saying,
opposition.
Col, is the best players from each of these various countries except France have been siphoned off here over the years into Sydney football.
Yeah, but they're not.
Right.
Yeah, well, there are only
That's
a
right.
couple here now, though, aren't there?
Well, they let the Great Britain side 2 years have had to stopping players come to Australia.
Yeah.
It hasn't lifted them at all at this stage. You say it's selections. It may not be selections.
Well, it's nearly got to be selection, Cole, when you consider that the best they had couldn't beat ours over there under their conditions, and they'd send the same group out here to do our conditions.
Well, they had Tony Fisher in over there. He's older than I am. No, he's not. No, not quite. Not quite.
Well, as I'm saying, it must be a worry, and I think it's got to become something looked at it, because I said what we see in the 3 international matches at the Sydney Cricket Ground, 50,000 people watched it.
That's
Listen,
right.
there is one
Things do tend to go in cycles, Col. I mean,
Well,
you can't just say because this is a low English
No.
side that they're not going to come good.
Oh,
They're going to have to
I
reoppose.
sincerely hope they do.
Yeah, but I mean,
For the good of the game of rugby
I
league.
played in a test match where we were beaten by 44 points to 17 or something, 41 points to
All
17.
your fault, too.
It was all my fault, yeah. I only did 48 tackles in that
Look at
game.
the poor fellas that were
The
running
point
off
is,
you.
we had a bad match in that one. But then the next year, we took a young kangaroo side away that started to rebuild. So, things go in
No,
cycles.
but come in cycles.
Rex, they haven't. They've still got the old players in this side. They're going to have to sack the old players and start off from scratch with the younger tribes. And the younger ones there, well, who are the young ones in what we saw yesterday?
And a more dedicated approach. I mean, some of those fellows they brought out, they couldn't even play the piano.
Oh, that's a rude thing to say.
No, they
That's
couldn't.
a terrible thing
They
to
couldn't.
say.
Honestly, they couldn't play the piano.
I
some of
thought
those
Casey would have made a good dancer. He gave Tom a nice little rat-tat-tat on the head
fellows.
on one occasion.
Now, listen, you've played against a lot of the teams of the past. And let's bring it into the modern day football now. There's been a lot of talk about violence in football. There was spite yesterday, no violence. Do you think that the game now is more spiteful or more vicious than it was, say, when you fellas were playing?
Well, let's answer in sequence. Who do you want to answer first?
Well, you're the head of the table. You,
All right,
you can go
I'll
first.
say categorically, and I'll get Steve Rogers' opinion on this at this point. When I've made my statement, he can agree or disagree. I don't believe the game is any tougher at all than it used to be. Now, maybe I'm living in the past. Maybe you get better as you get older. That may be. So I'm allowing for the fact of a certain amount of brain damage, and I'm going soft. The game is no tougher in any aspect than it ever was. It's certainly more violent and snide than it used to be. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree. I don't think the game possibly is quite as tough as it used to be. that we haven't got the physical encounters like you used to have in your day, where it was unlimited tackle football and you used to have the head-on clashes with the forward. Whereas today, it's limited tackle. It's a much faster, more open game, but you get that bit of spite coming.
Well, a player, now here, you're a young fella, I would say we wouldn't have a better man to ask these questions to. You're young, you're with it, you're one of the big-time players.
Highly
Are you
experienced.
blokes, now forget Provan as your coach at the moment, you've been under other coaches, and you know about other coaches. Are players coached to do these stupid, violent things? Is it suggested to them that you go out and stand on a bloke's hand, or you gouge at his eye, or you pull his hair, or you do... Is it just come out in people?
No, I can only speak for our side, and none of our players have ever been told to do anything like that at all. We've always been told to play the game hard, tackle hard, not do anything silly, but hurt players with a tackle, which is, it's the game.
You come up against it week after week, though, with other teams. If you say you don't do it, well, I'll accept that, because you are basically a very clean player. I'm saying that with the knowledge of having watched you for a number of years. But you come up against it with other teams. Now, does it worry you? Do you ever in fear of your well-being out there, with what you might get when you're on the ground waiting for the knees to come in?
Oh, yeah, I think, sometimes it does stay in the back of your mind, and you can't let it worry you to the extent where it's going to affect your game, but, in some games, when I go down, the first thing I do is cover up.
Well, Steve, what's the answer? Why is the game more violent now? Not tougher, but more violent. Why is it more violent?
Possibly, the fact that it's so much money involved in the game today, and it's a win-at-all-cost attitude, I think, with a lot of players.
Just on that point there, with that, just a little thing, Steve, like you go down and you roll over trying to get up to play the ball, and that nice hand comes and pushes your head in there. Now that was, honestly, I don't think I've ever done that once, and probably neither of you felt.
No.
It doesn't hurt, but God, it's a niggling thing, and you'll take the bloke's number, and as sure as eggs you get near him, you'll try and unload something on him later on. You get plenty of attention, don't you? Like you're a marked man, and that push in the face, it's... Oh.
Well, answer the question that Alan asked.
That's not violent, but it looks violent.
Answer the question that Alan asked.
Well, do you think there's more spite and violence in the game now?
Well, I think this. I think that, in different ways. I've always advocated a punch in the nose never hurt anyone. But I'll tell you what...
Didn't do any good.
This elbow, what about yourself? Ugly. Anyway, with this elbow bit, I know what I'd sooner have, a punch in the nose or an elbow on the jaw, with a wire and all that sort of stuff later on. But now it's got to the stage where you see the ball carrier is doing as much damage with his elbow to the tackler, like the ball he'll come in and crash, he'll get the elbow right across the mouth. Well, I mean, that's got to go, and who's responsible for that? And I think the elbow is probably the most violent part of the game.
Well, unfortunately, we've got to say that an Englishman brought that to Australia, Malcolm Reilly.
Yeah.
The Manly club brought a very fine footballer, but they also brought they opened the Pandora's box, didn't they?
Yeah,
big part.
and it's not only the man that's making the tackle, but it's the ball carrier now that's using the elbow as a protection.
Yeah, well, I think the administration